While a lot of us are excited to be receiving our Kenner Classic Ecto ones, collectors across the country are noticing that the Kenner Classics figures are being clearanced at Walmart's, and what was once a big Ghostbuster toy section has been completely removed in Walmart's latest toy aisle reset. So the question is, has Kenner Classics been canceled? We're going to talk about that today on Geek Dad Life. Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. So it's been a really fun couple weeks as a Ghostbusters fan. A lot of the Ghostbusters Afterlife merch has been hitting retail stores. I've been picking those up and reviewing them, so definitely check those out if you haven't already. And something that was unveiled in the spring of this year was the latest additions to Hasbro's Kenner Classics line, which is a re-release of those amazing Real Ghostbusters toys from the 80s and early 90s. The big addition is that they actually recreated and re-released the Ecto 1 to add to their Kenner Classics toy line, and in this past week or so, a lot of people have had their Ecto 1s delivered. And while this has been incredibly exciting, and I've been working on my video review of this Kenner Classics Ecto 1, and on the most recent episode of Toy Geeks, my live toy talk show, I live opened my Walmart box of my Ecto 1 to see if it was like horribly damaged. Luckily, it wasn't, but in the chat, a lot of people were talking about how the Ecto 1s have not shown up at retail at all, and that it may just be an online exclusive is what the chatter is saying. And then comments in that chat, as well as comments on my page, have been saying that the Ghostbusters section of Walmart has been completely taken away. Not only is there no more toys on the pegs, but there's not even a place for other Ghostbusters toys to go. Which is a pretty big change, because up until a week or so ago, at my local Walmart, there was, a large amount of Kenner Classics hero figures, as well as tons of Ghost Poppers, as well as that Playskool Hero Stay Puff. So a pretty healthy section for Ghostbuster toys, which really for any toy line today, there's just not always a very full aisle of toys on the pegs at Walmarts and Targets today. So it was nice to see that there was a good helping of Ghostbusters figures for those that wanted them. So seeing these comments about how these Ghostbusters sections have been removed, I wanted to check out my Walmart to see if it was true in my Walmart as well. And sadly, it was true. I went down the aisle and it was completely gone. And not only just no toys there, but there was no other placeholder for any of the new Afterlife merch. So it has me really concerned that, if this is the holiday reset that we're seeing in retail stores right now, why does Walmart have no presence for Ghostbusters, which should be a pretty big theatrical release this fall? And knowing that they had a ton of toys there only a week ago, I was like, I wonder if they clearanced them. So I went around and looked around my Walmart, and sure enough, most of those figures that have been, on the pegs had been clearanced, and not only, slightly clearance, like big time clearance, $5 each from the normal like $14.99. So it had me kind of feeling a little blue, because it's just been really cool to have, some of my favorite, if not my favorite toys of all time back on toy shelves. And, them being clearanced out and not even any other pegs for them to be placed for other figures has me worried that this is it. This is it for the Kenner Classics toy line. And I really hope that's not the case. So I don't know if it was out of like fear that these may never be on toy shelves again, but I bought, a decent amount of these clearance figs for $5 a piece, just in case they never release them again. So that's my irrational collector brain going, and I feel like it's what a lot of us are feeling, because we've loved the Kenner Classics line so much that it'd be really a big bummer if that's it. That's all we'll get at retail shelves. And I kind of was really excited to see the Ecto 1 alongside all of these great other Kenner Classics figures that have been released so far over the past year or so. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. If anything, maybe we'll get the Ecto 1s on shelves, but they won't be alongside the figures, which is a bit of a bummer, because even the Ecto 1 packaging, and I'll talk about this in my full review later this week, they didn't show any of the figures on the actual Ecto 1, which again just seems kind of a missed opportunity, because I know my kids love playing with these figures and they'll love to have the Ecto 1 as well. And for, any other kid or parent that sees it, they probably want to get the Ecto 1 and the figures. So it just seems like a weird way to release these toys if they're going to remove all of basically wave 1 of Kenner Classics, which is, all of the heroes and some of the ghosts. And then maybe we'll get the Ecto 1 on the toy shelves, and that's all we'll see. So that doesn't make too much sense. Maybe that'll be the case. Maybe that's how they'll do it. But the more, it seems more and more likely that maybe the Ecto 1 will be an online-only release, which, again, is a bit of a bummer. I pre-ordered one online, but I intended to buy a few more. Kenner Classics has been a great toy line to collect because it's been pretty easily available on toy shelves. And I was hoping the same would be true for these Ecto ones. I like to get a couple just to kind of have, in reserves in my doomsday shelter, just having some extra Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters toys, just in case me or my kids needed them. So I do not work for Hasbro. I do not know their intentions. I do not know their, deals with Walmart and how they're releasing these toys to support Ghostbusters Afterlife. But as I'm seeing right now, and as a lot of people are seeing across the country, those sections of the stores are not there anymore, and they're clearancing the figures. And the Ecto 1, which is a great recreation of a classic 80s toy, is not on shelves either. So this will be a big bummer if it is the end of Kenner Classics at Walmart. Maybe they can move it somewhere else. Maybe they can make it an online-only exclusive. They have Hasbro Pulse. And or maybe they can take it to Target or something like that. The Target has been where all of the other Ghostbusters Afterlife merch has been showing up for most people in the United States. So maybe they can take Kenner Classics somewhere else, because I think there is a fan base there. I think there is a base of collectors that have been picking these up. And I do hope that it can continue on in some form or fashion, because it's been a blast to kind of have these figures again. There are so many more that they could get to, so many other versions of the iconic heroes, so many more ghosts. And I know something that's been on the top of a lot of people's list is a recreation of the Kenner Firehouse for the real Ghostbusters. And, if this is any indication of clearancing out a lot of the figures and not even putting the Ecto 1 on toy shelves, the likelihood that we'll get a Kenner Classics Firehouse playset is becoming less and less likely, which again is a big, big bummer. So, hopefully this is not the end for Kenner Classics. Maybe it's the end for Kenner Classics at Walmart, but hopefully maybe we can find legs and go somewhere else, because I know there's a fan base for it. We've all been, buying these things up, and hopefully it can continue on somewhere else. So Hasbro, if you're watching, whatever you can do to keep Kenner Classics going in some form or fashion, I think needs to happen, because us Ghostbuster fans have been over the moon of all the product you've been releasing, and hopefully you can continue to, push this stuff out there, because I believe there is an audience there buying it. So what do you think at home? Do you think that this is the end for Kenner Classics, and, it was fun while we had it, but it's probably not going to stick around too much longer? Or do you think that maybe it's just a bit of a pause, bit of a pullback to eventually come back even stronger closer to November when the movie is coming out? Let me know down in the comment section below. Definitely check out some of my other videos. I've reviewed just about all of the Kenner Classics so far. You can find a playlist for that right here, as well as just about any other Hasbro Ghostbuster toy release. You can find a playlist for that right here. Until next time, hasta luego, and goodbye.